Welcome to this week's edition of the CS Roundup with Russell and Jan. Hi, Jan.
Hey, Russell.
How's it going?
Good, good. Let's jump in. I'm excited about this topic today. What is
Oh,
it?
okay, well, I'm going to click our ticker here, although I think everybody knows from clicking on the title of the episode that
Yeah.
our topic this week is should we do EBRs?
All right.
I feel like
Should
EBRs were a big point of emphasis maybe in 2020 and 2021, and lately I've seen some negative sentiment toward whether or not we should do them. So I'd love to hear what you think.
you know, it's interesting. I think they get a bad rap because they've turned into, what the company wants to tell their customers about the company, about their products, and it's all me, 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 me. And, that's why they have such a bad rep because who cares, like who wants to show up, and give a half hour, an hour, or sometimes longer, like no wonder the executives are shunning them because it's a waste of time. And so, as long as EBRs are so centered around, the company and not the customer, yeah, scrap them. But, if you're actually creating like success plans and, orienting it around the customer, then it's valuable and they'll find it valuable and they'll show up. So, it depends on what you mean by an executive business review, you know. But generally, I think if they're centered around success plans, yeah, I'm for it. You know, I
Yeah,
don't
I
know.
agree with you. It's weird that it's almost a hot take to say, yes, we should do EBRs, but it is a little bit of a hot take. I feel like we have so much emphasis in the sales community and in the success community too about finding a good decision maker relationship.
Yeah.
And a lot of the times it's an executive or a VP. And when are you going to see them otherwise? You can't just call up an executive and expect that they're going to answer the phone. You have to get on their calendar. And so an executive business review is the perfect time to do that.
Which is why then it needs to be about something that they actually care about and they're interested in. And,
Yeah.
that there was actually a LinkedIn post about this recently. Well, actually, a couple that I've seen where, people are talking about this. I do think it's always sort of up for discussion, but I do think that the success plan is the key. Ideally, you start that when you're doing the kickoff to continue that dialogue that the salesperson has had and to give that executive, the comfort in knowing that everything that's transpired during the sales process is going to continue with that relationship with the CSM. And if they understand that, then the CSM also then gets to be the strategic advisor. Without it, if you're just going into and here's our latest product or this is what your usage is the most useless information to provide during an
It's
EBR, right?
that's totally about the vendor, not about the customer at
Yeah.
all.
Yeah. I
Yeah.
mean, there could be a rare case where they care about that, in which case, keep it in the appendix. And when they bring it up, say, hell yeah, I happen to have that. It's right here, because maybe they're really concerned about how much adoption, is taking place. Are they getting their value from it? And you can say, hey, yeah, actually, you're getting great adoption. Or, oh, actually, no. And we should talk about that because blah, blah, blah. You know, that's when it pertains, like, are they
Exactly.
making
It's
it
a
about
supporting metric.
yeah. I
Yeah.
mean, the other thing too is I think you have to talk about now today about when you're scaling CS and what sort of digital options you have. And luckily, there is a lot more of that in the CS tech stack these days. There's Matic, there's Cast, there's various options for sending this information out to folks, and then either like you can very easily. That's the other thing, right? Trying to keep up on all of this data for all of the customers you have. I mean, you want to have it ideally so it can pull, easily into a presentation. Otherwise, you're spending, hours trying to maintain and track this data, So use tools to make it easier on you and then use it for whether you're sending it out digitally or sending it out as, or, doing slides with them.
Yeah,
Yeah.
there are some great applications that will basically auto-generate an
Yep.
EBR deck. And basically what it is it's a joint success plan template, and you tell it what the values are, what the fields
Mhm.
are that are important to that customer, and then something will run a report, update those fields, and it could even, if it's a digital EBR, it'll just trigger that report to be sent to that executive. So it's
Yep.
great, even if it's a small or a mid-market company, and you can't, as a CSM, do an EBR for everybody. You have those
Hmm.
options.
And then you can have a call to action button in it so that then if they want to talk to a CSM about it, they can. And yeah, it totally makes it scalable. Yeah, I mean, I've seen like Cast, it takes literally, if you, when you can have it automated, or you can like press the button on it. If you press the button on it, literally 2 seconds later, it's like, boom, ready to go. Like, that's what's better than that.
Okay, so if you're out there and your company has an EBR slide deck template, and slide one is a map of the world with little red dots where your offices are, and slide two is a big collage of your impressive logos, cut it out. Get the joint success plan in there instead.
Yeah, put that in the appendix. If anybody cares about it, they can look at it in the appendix. And that can help your company transition away from all of this, these slides that they're so like they're holding on with like white knuckles, right? Like, no, we've got to keep this in here. Like, yeah, put it in the appendix. That's a good transition plan for folks who are holding on.
I'll say too, blending our last two topics together, I've had an EBR template and it did not make it any quicker for me to create a deck.
Yeah. Yeah, because
So,
you have to go and gather all that data up. Yeah,
right.
unless it's easy within the company. Data is the hardest part, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
definitely.
And that should be a topic all about data.
We should. Okay, let's mark it down.
All right.
Well, for this week, do we have anything further on EBRs?
No, but I would love for folks to just sort of enter in the comments kind of what they're doing with EBRs. Do people show up? What are some good tactics or changes that they've made in in creating these slides, and how it's helped them develop the relationship? Because I think that's really the point of these, is you're trying to drive value. And have you been able to use these in a way that drives value? I'd love to see some best practices out there from folks.
Definitely. Going back to the decision maker thing, at that executive level, they may be juggling EBR invites from how many vendors? 30,
Oh,
50, more? And
no
so if they're
more.
taking your meeting, that's a big sign that they do see the value in it.
So
That's most of the battle.
I'm sorry to interrupt. I'd seen actually that it was like 70, different types of apps that people have in their tech stack. Then lately I saw there was 110.
Oof.
Can you imagine 110? That's insane. So yeah, you're not. That's the first thing you got to know is your product central to what they do in their business? Then you might get some EBR times. If it's not central to what they do in their business, then you have to think about how do you communicate that value and share that in a way that may not take their time, but can, whether you drip the information in or you send it out digitally, or some way of communicating it, right? So yeah, and so I would ask, anybody has examples of that, put that in the comments too, because I think we all want to learn together and share on that.
All right. Sounds good. We are looking forward to seeing all these content submissions, and we will catch you next time on the CS Roundup with Russell and Jan.
All right, see ya.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.